Mediocre Hobbies Podcast. The Old World Hypothesis. Follow us online. Andy is at youtube.com/@mediocre hobbies. Tom is at tomlandy.com.
And I've got a microphone. I don't know if you've seen it. I've got a microphone right here.
I do have a microphone, yeah. Put it in every single episode. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Mediocre Hobbies Podcast. Myself and Mr. Tom, as usual, will be bringing you roughly, how long? 40 minutes of content, fun, chats. I don't know how long these go on for. How much do you edit out?
Some. I mean, I try and get shows under half an hour.
Okay.
But I usually cap it at about 20 minutes because after 20 minutes I start to waffle.
Oh yeah, I think we both do. So yes, we're going to bring you 20 minutes of content and entertainment, and this one is going to primarily focus around the old world because Games Workshop is spitting out articles left, right, and center, and we're both very excited about it. Wouldn't you agree?
Right now, what I want to talk about are high elves. Love high elves. Old high elves as well, really old ones. They're my favorite.
Really old high elves. I did see your post on Instagram with your glorious high elf Phoenix Guard. They look amazing.
Well, we are going to talk about the old world because that's what the boss told me to talk to you about. But it's like I've got sword masters over there right now. I've got metal, I've got plastic from Island Blood, and I've got that middle era, which is when I started in the hobby when they came in blister packs of 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I've got some of those in metal. It's literally just like small, medium, and large next to each other, and it's not bad, like because I can just put them in units together. But it's cool. I've got 50 sword masters on my shelf.
That's a lot of sword masters. Considering they're not going to be in hordes anymore. So
20, 15, and 15.
that's a lot of sword masters. There's sword master heavy force, or what's going on?
Yes, specifically like Hoeth. Like that's the.
Yeah, I took 2 units 24 sword masters in my old army. That's my favorite. That's what I liked.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
In what, 8 wide?
No, I think I just took them in 6 wide. 6, 12, 18, 24.
4 ranks, yeah.
It was 4 ranks of 6.
That's the other thing. I really like. Anyway, we'll talk about this in a minute. Because she told me to talk to you about lizard men, and lizard men, obviously, you're putting on square bases. So,
yeah.
So that's, I know. I saw the article too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think actually the thing that I'm most excited about, that'll all get cut out, all that gap. The thing I'm most excited about is I've got something to do for the old world because they told us something, and I'm still on tender hooks for 10th edition.
Yeah.
And you know, I can't do anything else for 10th edition until I get some army lists. So gotta do something, right?
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. All right, guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast. On that a little bit there, I'm the same as you. Like now that I feel like they know something, I can work on stuff. But one of the pieces of information that I just really would like to know, just this tiny bit, is we know that 20 millimeter bases are now 25.
Yeah, well,
so
that's why all I can do are sword masters. Yeah.
What the size is the next size up? What are lizardmen supposed to be on?
So they were 25 before, right? So my money is going to be.
They were bigger.
Well, the old squares, Chaos
28?
Warrior and Saurus were on 25s, weren't they?
Was it 25? Yeah,
I think so. I don't know, actually. I haven't even seen one of those bases in a decade, so I honestly don't know. But my money is 25, and then I would guess they're going to go to 28 because 32 is too big.
Is it?
Yeah, like a 32 square is big. 32 round is big enough. Like, actually I've got bases all around me, Andy.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Oh, that's a Terminator base. 32.
But like, if it doesn't cut them out, like that's a 25 and a 32 round.
But I think that's what it's going to need. If you look at things like the new version of Chaos Warriors, the size of Saurus.
Yeah, maybe.
Like if I have a space for here.
I'm actually amazed at how normal the elves look on 25s. Like they don't seem squat at all.
No, they should have been on that the whole time.
How disappointed you are about lizard men not getting rules and stuff.
Yeah, grand.
Well, you get rules, but
not real rules, pretend rules. I do have another thing I would like to talk about the whole not getting rules thing that I'm very curious about.
Okay, well, I'm really keen on this actually because I think what what they've done with every other game system is they've kind of locked themselves into a timeline, and this way they can progress and they can literally jump 100 years to when, post X event, and then
Yes.
they can
Yeah,
they can
they can literally
introduce
do
things. And
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
which I think is brilliant, but we'll get to that. I've also put too much squash in this drink, when you like
It's
make
the worst.
yeah.
But like, you've drank like that much of it. Why don't you run down and put that much of water back into it?
No, because I haven't got time for that. I'm too busy too excited to talk to you about the old world to go and refresh my drink. What are you talking about?
So the old world, very excited. My plan.
Yes, please.
I have another laser cutter being sent to me. Okay.
Cool.
Very excited. Laser cutters are a very interesting thing for me because I get really panicked about what the project should be to showcase them for the company that I do them for.
Oh my God, bases. What a great idea, Andy.
I'm going to do bases and movement trays. So one of the things that I'm most excited about is the idea of movement trays.
Yep.
With the frame that the models sit in. When you put all the bases in, it completely sits flat. So there's not going to be any beveled edges, not going to be like lines or gaps between all the models. You could literally just basically base this entire plate as a beautiful scene, then put all the models on the correct spot. That. And I'm like so excited to do. I'm so freaking excited. And like one of the things I'm super excited about from the old world returning is it looked like that it's going back to shrinking unit sizes. So the hordes are gone, I feel, which I think is a really good thing because it was very stressful. And I did get a lot of horde armies built and painted.
Early for you to go to sleep?
I did get a lot of horde armies built and painted. But they usually weren't to even the standard that I liked them to. They were usually a little bit sloppy and a little bit quick because, a unit for 200 points was 40 models.
Know, right?
It was a pain. So the idea now that we might just be getting 24 models is a nice base makes me want to put a lot of time and effort into that unit of 24 models.
The thing is, I don't actually mind hordes. My issue with hordes for 8th edition was it was hordes of elite units, which doesn't make any sense. Like if you look at an Empire army, or Bretonnian, because Bretonnians are we know we're going to get some new Bretonnians. Let's talk about Bretonnians. You should never have 20 Grail Knights in a group. They should be super. Like if you have 8, you should be like super elite. You should have 150 peasants to support them, but you shouldn't have that. And that was always the issue. Was always Empire greatswords, like blocks of 30, blocks of 40. It just didn't make any sense. Never mind on the tabletop as you moving them and everything else. But actually, the army construction didn't make any sense.
No, you're totally right. Like there was that thing, and it meant that like smaller, less powerful units just kind of went away the dodo, and you were just usually left with these token units of archers that sit at the back, and then these mass hordes of really powerful units, which I think took a little bit of flavor away from some of the games. But like, the first army I'm going to do for Old World is going to be my Bretonnians because I have pretty much every Bretonnian model ever, except for Mounted Yeoman.
Yeah, they were great.
Not that I'm bitter, but I never bothered to buy them, and now they're like hen's teeth to buy because no one else bought them either.
See, I've literally been talking to people. So as of now, the Old World article for the 23rd of May has been published about 2.5 hours. So I've been talking to people about this for 2.5 hours. And so I'm completely on board with you in terms of Bretonnians. Bretonnians for me have been they've always been an army I wanted. I never got them, never got into them, but I can't do them now, which is my problem. So I can't do them until we get Old World, because either we're going to get new models and I'm going to want them straight away, obviously, or we're going to get the old models again for the first time in 50 years. And you're going to be able to buy Mounted Yeoman for the first time for like, they're not going to be cheap, but they're not going to be eBay prices, right?
No.
So, do you have Bretonnians at the moment? Is there something that you can work on and work
Mounted
towards?
Yeoman is the only unit I don't have. The only models I don't own Bretonnians.
And is the army done, or is it grey?
It was built and it was sprayed black, and then I just couldn't paint it because back then I didn't have contrast and I didn't have skills, and they were a super frustrating army. But like, even I went back, like they were one of my first armies I did in Fantasy, and then I came back to them a little bit just before old Warhammer went away, and because I used to just have all knights. And then I very luckily went back to them and was like, you know what, I'm going to get a block of 40 men at arms, and I'm going to get 2 blocks of 20 archers, and I'm going to buy all, and I built them all. I'm like, now they're all sitting there, gray plastic. Like, wait, let me see this. Hold on, I've actually got it right here. First of all, You should appreciate the case that they're in.
I should. Is it a small black one? Oh, 25th anniversary. Wow. That is an old, that's what, 15 years old this year?
Yes. Crazy,
Right.
right? Now I'll show you a very satisfying thing that I did. First of all, there's a wood elf forest dragon. And like, check out this for like forethought in Andy being sensible. Look at the men at arms.
Only two of them have fallen out.
All built. Never even
Amazing.
sprayed. Perfect condition. Ready to go.
Wrong
All I
bases. They're on the
is
wrong
put them
bases,
on the right
Andy.
bases
Wrong
and
bases.
start painting. So I have this feeling that they might be like the first unit that I do going back is I do like a block of 24. I don't know why I keep saying 24. I don't want them to be 20s. I want them to be slightly wider. I don't know why. That's what they were showing.
Yeah, well, I mean,
in
it
the
depends
article.
on what the new game is. So obviously, I've derailed you already.
It is just that thing. Like I wish now they're not going to do them, but I wish now they would just say all 20s are going to 25s, all 25s are going to 32 squares. Because they said we are not making base adapters.
Yes.
So that
Yeah, and
means they expect us to figure out how to make them bigger bases by them ourselves. So why can't we get stuff ready?
well, they've also said that. Well, maybe they don't know. I think that's part of it. I mean, they have said that the base size will be included in the unit profile. So, like,
Yeah.
we're not going to know that until the game's done, I guess.
They said the rules are going to be relatively similar to, was it 7th edition they said?
I think
Like
so.
they're
Yeah.
not doing a big rehaul, like they're not like rewriting the old world
No.
rules. They'll tweet. It'll almost be like we got 10th edition of fantasy. They just like, you know what I mean? It's like we got the next edition,
Mm.
which is fine. I'm kind of happy about that. Yeah. But like even if you look at the article today, like those boar boys are on their bigger bases now.
Yeah, I find it really irritating that they post pictures of these things, but they don't tell us what they are.
Yeah. Because that'll be the size like the knights. Remember they did the red and I didn't realize this. But remember they did the red and black Bretonian army a few weeks ago.
Yeah, they were all on different bases as well.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize that. I didn't know. I missed
knew
that conversation
immediately.
online. That everyone was talking about. All the knights are on different sizes and everything as well. So I'm like, what size? I can't redo my knights because I don't know the sizes. If someone online can see the boar boys or see them and go, okay, I use math and stuff to figure out what size they are. That means I could rebase all of my knights as well. And I could give, but that's the thing. The knights in that article. They were in their lance formation again.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So we're going to get
So
Bretonian
was that
lances.
just for the article for fun, or is that actually the rules?
I thought it said in the article that they would be back to lance formations and stuff again. I'm sure they mentioned something about
MDF out the trays, the
yeah,
lance formation, and then put
Yeah.
them all in and just.
gorgeous.
Oh,
I'm telling you,
give it to
good,
me
isn't it? And
now.
it's like, and just to be clear, I was delighted when the old world blew up.
Yeah.
Right, I was so done with fantasy, and it's not that it was a bad game or the end times was bad. It was just like boring. Like I said, like everything was just elite. Have you watched the John Wick movies?
Of course.
Okay, cool. So spoilers for John Wick. John Wick starts off beating up a guy who's really weak. And towards the end of like film 3, everybody he fights is in entirely impervious armor. And so everyone he fights just ranks up and up and up and up and up and up. That's what 8th edition felt like. It just felt like you never fought peasants. Everyone in your Bretonian army was a Grail Knight. And it was just so tedious. What was your first Warhammer Fantasy army
Ogres.
back in the day?
Ogres.
What?
Ogres.
No, they're not in this. They're not in this edition, Andy. What else? What else was there? What else was your first?
They're still there. They're still look at my ogres.
No, they're not. They're not allowed. They're specifically
Still on their square bases. Look.
No. They're specifically not allowed. They're still sat in the mountains. They're not allowed to come over. So they won't be showing up. What's next? What was your first army then?
Okay, let's go down the order. I did ogres first, and then I did lizardmen.
Oh no, they're actually in the new world. This is Warhammer, the old world. So you can't have those.
I have a really big empire army.
Oh, good. This is actually mostly in the empire, so that's fantastic.
Yeah. A huge Stirland army, like literally hundreds of painted miniatures for it, all ready to rock and roll.
On square bases.
On square bases.
Oh, amazing.
Well, what's the point now? Because they've got to change all their bases.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, I mean, you know, whoops.
But the idea of though that was the army I was talking about, where I love that army so much.
Yeah.
But like doing a block of 40 halberdiers was 200 points. So
I know.
I would love to then like pull 24 of them out, rebase them, and can like count what I've done so far as the base coats, throw a shade on top, and relayer it nice. And basically tart them. Like I don't want to restart an Empire army. I want to make that Empire army beautiful, like it deserved to get years ago.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. Even just like making little scenes with cannons and stuff, and like I could MDF a base that a cannon sits in, and then a little slot that all the crews step in, like, you know what I mean? And then put like the cannonballs and the extra bits that you used to get with the kit, but you didn't have anywhere to put it, so they just stayed on the sprue, and it was just like a cannon and 3 dudes standing there. I'm like, I want all the extra bits. I might want a few like barricades or some sandbags or some earthworks or just all that cool stuff.
Yeah. And it's good as well, because right now you have the capacity to take on, because we don't know when it's coming out. Like it could be 2024, it could be 2025. I hope it's not, but it could be, because they haven't really given an indication when we're going to get this. But you could just do a unit every 3 months right now and do all those little bits and pieces like you did with your Krieg. You can do your trenches, or whatever the equivalent is, and then by the time the game comes out, you can immediately play the game with that army, but then also immediately start collecting a new army. Which I mean, my first ever box of miniatures was the High Elf Spearmen and Archer box from like back in the day when things came in polystyrene boxes wrapped in very small amounts of cardboard. They were terrible models. Love them. So I'm going to do High Elves, and as soon as we get new models, I'm going to do a Bretonnian army.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with Empire and Bretonnians. And I do have a large Tomb King's army as well. All right, guys, that brings a close to another episode of the Mediocre Hobbies podcast. I had a ball talking about the old world. I only got frustrated a couple of times because of lack of information. And then got excited. Okay, a lot. Okay, just a little bit. But I'm just very keen, and we are both very excited to bring the old world back to life, pull out some old armies, make some new armies, and just really enjoy it. So, and hopefully that bled through with this episode of the podcast.
I think I'm still bleeding from this episode, so
yeah, probably, yeah.
There's blood
about that microphone. Have a great week, guys, and we'll talk to you again.
Bye.
See you later.
There's always an accented us saying hello.